By the time the moon climbed over the treetops, the village had quieted. The smell of dinner still clung to my clothes. Grilled fish, rice, a faint sweetness from Hannah's flowers she had used to season the broth. We'd scrubbed the floors and washed the dishes, mended the baskets and gathered herbs for Mother. I had set fire pits for the families, careful to keep the flames steady and small, and lit lanterns along the winding paths so the younger kitsune could walk safely. For the elders, I stoked the common fire to ward off spirits in the forest, keeping it alive long after they had gone inside. I'd even help carry water from the lake back to the house, trying to dodge the splashes, so a few wet drops had hit my legs and sent a jolt of pain up my body. My hands were raw from scrubbing, my tail heavy with exhaustion, and my chest still burned from the effort. But I didn't dare complain. No one did. Training nights were sacred. We met again by the lake, the same clearing where the morning's fire scars still marked the ground. The air was now cool, silver under the moonlight. Sota spread her mist across the clearing, dense and shimmering, wrapping the space in a soft barrier that turned everything ethereal. Hana and Tsuki were already setting up, roots scraped up from the earth to form uneven paths. Flowers bloomed and closed in quick patterns like breathing traps. Tiny mushrooms glowed, lightening the curves in ghostly patterns. Ren stood near the center, her tail glowing pale white as she shaped her illusions. Villagers crying for help, silhouettes of people trapped under roots or tangled in vines, the voices echoing through the mist. Every illusion shimmered faintly, the faces too soft to be real, but real enough that my chest tightened at the sound of them. Tonight's test, Hikaru said, her voice steady and clear. It's not about who fights better, it's about who saves better. She paced in front of us, tails swaying, the light illuminating the mist like stars on the water. The world doesn't care who throws the strongest flame or who melts the thickest rock. What matters is who can keep their focus when everything burns around them. She looked at me, then at Itsuka. Her gaze lingered on both of us just long enough to make the tension sharp and humming. The one who rescues the most before the moon reaches its peak wins. You may try to stop your opponent, but if you hurt them, you lose a point. Control, protect. Remember what you're training to become. Her hand lifted. Begin. The air erupted. Ren's illusions scattered across the field, crying out in overlapping voices. The vines twisted into moving barriers. The mist thickened. The first strike came fast. Itsuka's acid arcing through the air in a bright hissing streak. I dodged right, the heat of my own fire curling up my arms in answer. The mist thickened around us. Sota was concentrating hard, making the field feel endless. I spun, letting the fire trail behind me in a wide arc, cutting through the fog in ribbons of orange. For a few moments, it felt like a dance again. Fire and acid whizzing through air and smoke, my movements sharp and Itsuka's fluid. She was relentless, though. Every attack was calculated, her steps quieter than mine, her control better. She grinned whenever I stumbled. "Is that all, weak flame?" she taunted. The words cut through me, but I pushed harder, letting more heat into my flames. The ground scorched where I stepped. The mist hissed and turned to steam around me, glowing gold. The others were shouting now, Ren's illusions screaming for help. Hannah's vines rising to block her way. Soda's mist shifting to make walls. Every part of the clearing was alive, moving, testing us. I ran first, fire blazing around my feet to light the ground. The heat parted the mist ahead of me, and I dove toward the first illusion. A child's figure trapped on the roots. I touched it, and the image dissolved into sparks that floated upward. A rescued soul. "One!" Hikari's voice echoed faintly from the side. I turned and saw Itsuka already ahead, melting her way through a tangle of vines. Her acid hissed, cutting through obstacles, her grin sharp as she reached another illusion before me. I pushed harder, flames roared, coiling up my arms, the rush of heat filling my chest. I moved faster, leaping between patches of earth that the twins shifted beneath us, like puzzles. Each time my flames met one of Ren's mirages, it vanished in a swirl of gold. But Itsuka was everywhere. Every time I reached for one, she was already there, blocking me, throwing bursts of acid near my feet to make me flinch back. "Stay out of my way!" she shouted, eyes glowing green. I ignored her, lunging for another illusion, but her acid splattered too close. The hiss was deafening, the seam hot against my leg. Pain flared, a burn so sharp it blurred everything. I stumbled, my control slipping. Fire erupted from my palms without permission, flaring outward in a furious circle. Itsuka swore, jumping back, but my flames had already licked at the vines, setting some alight. The young kitsune gasped, Soda's mist thickening instantly to smother the blaze. "Focus, Misaki!" Hikari's voice cut through the haze. I clenched my jaw and tried to steady the fire, but the adrenaline made it shake harder. Every rescued illusion Itsuka touched dissolved into light, while mine flickered away behind me. Itsuka broke through first, acid slithing through the vines. I followed, flame whipping at her feet. Sparks exploded when we clashed, the light blinding. For a heartbeat, I thought I had her. My fire caught her sleeve. She flinched back, hissing. But then she twisted, faster than I could react, and struck the ground near my feet. Acid hissed against the soil, spreading out, slick and smoking. I jumped back, but too slow. The heat licked my ankle, and the shock of it made my control slip. My fire surged wild. "Misaki!" Hikari's voice got through the chaos. I tried to rein it in, but the emotion flooded through me. Anger, frustration, humiliation. Itsuka ducked beneath the blaze and came up behind me, claws at my throat before I could turn. She had touched the last illusion, dissolving it into the night along with my hope. "I win," she breathed against my ear. Hikari lifted her hand, and the light around her tails flared. The arena stilled. Soda's mist softened. The illusions faded. I stood frozen, my breath staggered, my heart pounding so hard for the silence that followed. Itsuka released me with a triumphant smile. I wanted to hit her. I wanted to burn the ground where she stood until the earth itself turned to glass. Hikari raised her hand, and the sigils dipped. Enough. My chest was heaving. Itsuka's hair was a mess, streaked with soot, her grin sharp and satisfied. "She got 6, Hikari said, looking at her. Then her gaze shifted to me. "You got 4. 4. I bit the inside of my cheek, hard enough to taste iron. Itsuka gave a little bow, half smock, half mocking. "Guess fire burns out faster than acid after all." The words made my pulse spike. "You cheated," I spat. "You threw acid where I did what I had to." I stepped forward, flames trembling at my fingertips. "Then so will I. One more round." Hikari's voice stopped me cold. No. I wailed toward her, every muscle trembling with heat and anger. But she won, Hikari said firmly, her light flaring just enough to make the mist shimmer. She hurt me, I shouted, the sting from her acid still burning under my skin. Hikari's gaze softened, but her tone stayed steady. And I already deducted a point for that. Even with the penalty, she still rescued more illusions than you. I staggered back, fists clenched, fire flickering uncontrollably around my palms. That's not fair. She cheated. She blocked me. You're letting your anger decide the outcome, Hikari interrupted, stepping closer, the faint glow from her tails brushing the mist like a halo. Control is more important than victory. But that's not fair. It's not about fair. Hikari's light flared, bright enough to silence the crowd. It's about control. You think the world will wait for you to calm down before it falls apart? You think villains stop just because you're angry? Her voice rose, resonant through the mist. You can't save anyone if all you see is a person standing in your way. You lose yourself. You lose the reason you fight at all. That's what happened to Father. The clearing went still. Even the vines seemed to bow their heads. Hikari turned toward the others, the twins, Sota, Ren, and the small cluster of village kitsune kids who had gathered to watch. Listen to me, every one of you. Her tone softened, but it carried like the tide. Power isn't what makes us strong. What makes us strong is how we choose to use it. How we choose not to. The mist shimmered as the tails dimmed again, leaving only the moonlight. No one spoke. Even Itsuka's smirk faded under the weight of it. I swallowed hard, my throat tight. The fire inside me had gone quiet, but it still ached. I wanted to speak, to apologize, to defend myself, to say I just wanted to be good enough. But I couldn't. Hikari's eyes met mine briefly, and I saw something in them that wasn't anger, just sorrow, understanding, and fear, the kind that never quite went away. The others began to drift back toward the village, murmuring softly. Shota's mist unraveled into the air. Ren yawned, clinging to her tail. I stayed behind for a moment, staring at the blackened patch of ground where my flames had burned too bright. The smell of smoke still hung there, faint but familiar. Hikari's voice echoed in my head. You lose the reason you fight at all. And for the first time, I wondered if maybe that was what Father had felt too. The moment the light inside him turned to darkness.